Let me start this prelude by saying this. This is not a Mac course. It's not even a computer course. I've taught a lot of those. This isn't one of them. Don't get me wrong. This course was developed for Mac users, but not all of the material is specifically about using your Mac. Rather, this course will show you how to become hyperproductive, avoid procrastination, and use your time wisely whilst harnessing the power of your Mac and thinking differently about the way you work. This course takes elements of traditional personal productivity and time management and blends them seamlessly, I might add, with Mac tools and tips for amplifying their effectiveness. And the result is a tasty recipe for doing more work in less time and avoiding procrastination. In other words, this course is going to help you get more work done in less time. But to get the most out of this instruction and take your productivity to the next level and become an uber powerful, raging thunder lizard of productivity with more time for things you love, you're going to have to do more than just complete the lessons. You're going to have to change the way you think. Sounds scary, but don't worry, it's really painless. Still, I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you it's going to take a little bit of work. The silver lining is that if I can do it, anyone can do it. So in this prelude, I'm going to start off with how to get the most out of the course. Then I'm going to serve up a quick introduction to the three distinct facets of working smarter: improving efficiency, managing your time and activities, and banishing procrastination. It should come as no surprise that those also happen to be the titles of the three main sections of this course, the three parts. Okay, and finally, we're going to take a brief look at habits and how long it takes to make or break them. So first, here's how to get the most out of the course. One thing I noticed during all of my research was that no single book, technique, or author was 100% right for me. I tried a lot of things, and none of them was perfect right out of the box. I found useful advice almost everywhere I looked, but I never found a single source that had the complete solution, or at least one that worked for me. So in the years I've been pursuing this, I've adopted the best parts of what I found and mashed it up into a dozen or maybe more sources, and what comes out is my working smarter. It works spectacularly well for me, which is why you're going to find every tip, technique, trick, or piece of software that I've looked at and found helpful over 25 years. I'm going to talk about them all. I don't use them all anymore. Some of them I tried and said, that's great, but it's not right for me. Might be right for you. I do realize that not all of my ideas work for every one of you, and that's okay. All I ask is that you look at them all, try the ones that you find appealing, and continue using and refining the ones that work best for you. And then you'll have your own working smarter system. The only other thing you need to know is this: to become more productive and learn how to work smarter, you're going to have to change some habits, and those habits deal with time and work. I've often heard it said that one definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you want to become more productive, you're going to have to learn to do a few things a little differently. That might sound weird or scary, but I assure you it's for your own good, and it'll only sting for a minute. After all, you can't expect to turn into a raging thunder lizard of productivity overnight. Change is hard, and it takes time, and that's why I'm telling you right now, you're going to have to work hard to achieve these goals. I can't do it for you, but I'm going to do my part. I'm going to make it as easy as possible for you to find the things that work for you and help you change, okay? Just remember that you sometimes need to grok the why before I can explain the how. So hang in there and you'll discover precisely how easy it can be to change the way you think for the better. I start off each chapter of Working Smarter for Mac users with a quote about productivity, and the Prelude is no exception, starting with this one from John Irving. Good habits are worth being fanatical about. The first facet of working smarter, the part one, if you will, it's about efficiency, which has fascinated me since the day I first laid my fingers on a Mac. I can't remember a time when I wasn't obsessed with finding a better way, a faster way, or a cooler way of doing something on my Mac. And over many years, I've discovered a lot of great ones, a lot of great things many of which I still do to this very day. The second part of Working Smarter, covered in part 2 of this course, is managing your time and activities. To learn to be more productive, you need to become really aware of time and how you use it. Although that's traditionally known as time management, I think that's a misnomer. In the words of Bernard Kelvin Clive, we don't manage time, we manage activities within time. I think that's brilliant, by the way. The point is, we don't manage time. Time ticks at 1,440 minutes a day. What we can manage is how we use that time. I block out chunks of time every workday for my most important tasks, every day. And then I use those blocks of time to do nothing but that important thing that needs to be done. The third and final facet of Working Smarter is banishing procrastination. My macOS dictionary defines procrastination as, are you ready? Quote, the action of delaying or postponing something. That's it. That's an okay definition as definitions go, but it kind of misses the point. Why do we procrastinate? Now, the Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary does a little bit better with this one. They say procrastination is to delay doing something that you should do, usually because you do not want to do it. Now that one's closer, but still no cigar. If it were up to me, here's what the definition of procrastination would be. Are you ready? All right. Procrastination is doing something that doesn't help you achieve your goals when you should be doing something that does. That's all there is to it. You'll find a ton of tips and hints for banishing procrastination throughout the book. Now, since you'll be hearing more about all 3 of these parts throughout this course, let's take a quick look at the habit thing and how long it'll take you to break a bad habit or form a new one. Okay, so let's, for example, procrastination. If you want to conquer procrastination, manage use of your time, and be more efficient, you're going to have to get rid of some bad habits and replace them with new ones. And the new ones are going to be designed to help you reach your goals, to help you get the things that you need to do done in record time. But how long is it going to take? I've always heard that it takes 21 days to form a new habit or break a habit, but I did a bunch of research, and what I found was that's probably not true. I think it traces back to a guy named Maxwell Maltz in 1960, wrote a bestseller called Psycho-Cybernetics, and in there he stated it requires a minimum of 21 days for an old mental image to dissolve and a new one to gel. But notice that Maltz never said it takes 21 days. What he said was it takes at least 21 days. And that got me thinking, so I used my Google Foo, and I found some more recent research and discovered that in reality, it probably takes more like 66 days to make or break a habit. And so, regardless of which is correct, my advice to you, gentle student, is try every tip, technique, or tool that appeals to you and keep doing it for at least 66 days before you really can evaluate its effectiveness. I know that sounds rough, but you're going to thank me for it after you've changed a couple of bad habits into good ones. And that's really, honestly, that's all there is to it. Try the things that I recommend in these upcoming lessons. Try everything you see that looks promising. And then the ones that work the best, the ones that feel the most right, stick with it for at least 66 days if you possibly can. If you do that, if you can follow those instructions, I guarantee you that after 66 days, you're going to procrastinate less and get more work done. And you're going to get that more work done in less time than ever before, or my name isn't Bob Dr. Mac Levitas. Okay, So I know this lesson was a little light on that meaty, beefy stuff you're taking this course for, and well, that's kind of why it's called the Prelude and not Chapter 1 or Lesson 1 or anything like that. But rest assured, there's method to my madness. This is such a different kind of course and book. Working Smarter, the whole thing is very different for me, and I was afraid my readers would be mystified if I went on and on about something without mentioning the Mac for page after page. Unlike my previous books and most of the courses I've ever taught, this course isn't really linear, and not everything I teach, not every tip, technique, or tool is going to be perfect for every reader. Or for every viewer, I mean. So I want to make sure that you understand that your most effective path might be to, and try to understand that I think you should try everything, but really try anything that appeals to you and stick with it for at least 66 days and continue refining the ones that work for you until they're perfect. You know, whatever it is that you find in this course that starts to work for you, just go with it and make it your own. I also wanted to introduce, there's 3 legs of Working Smarter. We've kind of talked about this, the 3 parts of this course, the 3 sections of the book. The first is improving your efficiency. That's doing things better, faster, and more elegantly. The second is managing activities. Remember, I just said you can't manage time, but you can manage your activities within time. And you can, manage the way you use time to take care of your activities. And finally, last but not least, avoiding procrastination. The backstory in this prelude will make it easier for you to identify which of your legs, which part you need the most work with, and which tools and techniques are going to be the most likely to help you shore up the leg. Finally, I wanted to lay that whole 21 and 66 day thing out in front of you right up front. I'll mention it again probably more than once. But I wanted to plant the seed early on and give it time to take root and flourish. It sounds weird and sounds long and it sounds like a lot of work, but trust me, these are changes for the better, and when you get to the point where it's automatic, you're going to love me for it. All right, the bottom line is this. You're going to have to change your thinking and your habits a little if you want to become really productive, uber, ultra productive. That's the good news. And the other good news is it's not going to be as hard as you expect. If I've made it sound hard, it's not. You just have to do a few simple things. And really, it's kind of fun. It is. A lot of these things are almost fun, for me at least. I've been working on this for, 25 years, and I know I'm so much more productive now than I used to be. I am just so much more relaxed, and I get things done in so much less time. I leave the office earlier. I'll tell you, if a messed up, ADD laden procrastinator like me can do it, can become hyper efficient and effective, so can you. And there is one last thing, okay? I'm not big on exercises in my books and my courses, and there aren't any more in this course. But maybe there's one more. But I think you'll find the one exercise I'm about to assign you relatively painful and exceptionally useful. Okay. Here it is. This is exercise number 1. It might be the only one in the whole course. Next week, during your working hours for the next week, record every time you find yourself doing something other than what you should be doing, other than the task at hand. In other words, if you're supposed to be working on a report and you find yourself watching cat videos on YouTube, for example, write that down. If you're looking at electric razors or drones or something else you don't need on Amazon.com, instead of responding to the emails you're supposed to be responding to, write that down. If you're on Facebook, for any reason other than someone is paying you to be there, write that down. Do you get the picture here? What I want you to do is pay attention to those times when you're not being productive, but you should be. Make a note of it, and make a note of how long, approximately, you spent down that rabbit hole. Okay? I recommend doing this with a pen and a notebook, or a pen and a piece of paper, or a notepad, not on your Mac or your iPhone or your iPad. And the reason for that is you can keep that with you at all times and just whip it out as soon as you find that you have fallen down a rabbit hole. But again, feel free to use Notes or whatever Mac or iDevice app suits your needs. If that's what makes it work for you, just do it. It doesn't matter if you do it manually or electronically. The bottom line is that the technology you use to make your list isn't what's important. What's important is that you make a list, okay? After a week or so, you'll have a list of your rabbit holes. Now, just making that list is going to help you be more aware of them and perhaps even help you to avoid them. But even if the list doesn't help you now, it's going to help you plenty later when you get to the lessons that focus on how not to procrastinate, right? Tantalized? Then let's move on to part 1, improve your efficiency. And the first lesson in part 1, a delightful little ditty I like to think of as better, faster, and more elegantly. Onward.